What's going on, everybody? GemMint here with another recent reads. This time we have Moon Knight by Jeff Lemire. Recently got comped this by Marvel, so big thanks to you guys. And I really wanted to read it because I haven't read much Moon Knight, and I'm a huge Jeff Lemire fan. He never disappoints. And spoiler alert, he didn't disappoint here as well. So I reviewed the 14-issue series. It's going to have spoilers. Is the show going to borrow some of this stuff? I don't know. I have no idea what the show is going to be about. Again, haven't read much Moon Knight, but this is another one under my belt. Let's jump into the review. But before we do that, I do want to thank Street Level Hero for sponsoring the video. SLHLA.com has exclusive variants with new drops every Tuesday and Thursday. They have this brand new Spider-Gwen Gweniverse 2 by Marco Turini, which you can save 10% off of by using the code GEMMINT at checkout. That's good on this item, any item on the store, anytime you shop there, just like their sister site, THATSPIDERMANBOOTH.com. Now, they have the $35 mystery boxes where you're guaranteed 5 comics of retail value, and one of those lucky boxes is going to have their GP, their giveaway prize. So you want to make sure you jump in before the round ends. Use the same code GEMMINT. It'll save you 10% every time there as well. All right, guys, here we have the cover. This is one of the issues later on in the run, but we have Moon Knight by Jeff Lemire, the complete collection. And he's, of course, joined by Greg Smallwood and Jordi Belair, just to name a few. Collects the 14-issue series from 2016. And it's much more a story about a man named Mark Spector who has multiple personalities than it is a superhero comic book series. So we open up here, and we have a little cover page of Khonshu, or at least how he looks in Mark Spector's mind. And that's where we open up. In Mark Spector's mind, essentially, or wherever he may be, speaking with Khonshu, one of the gods of the moon, the god who gave him the Moon Knight powers. So he's speaking to him. This is flashing through his alter egos. In this story right now, Mark Spector is a man in a mental institution who believes he has aliases as Jake Lockwood. What is it? Lockley? Jake Lockley, which is the cab driver, and then Stephen Grant, the millionaire actor. Is that what it is? And also Moon Knight on the side. So anyway, he's in this mental institution. He's being treated poorly by these orderlies. They're essentially torturing Mark Spector, who starts to lose his faith a little bit. That happens a couple times throughout this story. But he's talking to this old man, and this is like a time when somebody starts talking that Moon Knight talk and makes him believe that everything is real. They try to show him in therapy that he actually has been drawing these things about Moon Knight and Khonshu ever since he was a kid, that it's a delusion that he's come up with the whole time, setting the tone for this book. This book is very much just, are any of these things even real? Is Jake Lockley real? Is any of the alter egos? Is Moon Knight? Is Khonshu? So that's kind of what he battles within. It's pretty cool that even with within the mental institution, when he throws on like Moon Knight type garb, he sees the world differently. He sees these orderlies as like these dog-faced enemies, and then seems to have some type of abilities as Moon Knight to, fight and be agile. And this also sets the tone of this overarching destruction of New York City type of scene that he can only see when he's wearing like a Moon Knight mask. So that's pretty much wrapping up the first issue here. He does get captured by the orderlies once again. And then here's, again, issue 2, looking at those drawings that he's come up with as a child as he's in therapy. And they're trying to get him to understand that all those things are just made up within his mind. And then we go, boom, back and forth, talking now with Khonshu once again. And again, right when he's at his lowest, something comes through to save him, to get him out of the situation, to get him a mask. And that's where he dons this tuxedo Moon Knight Mark Spector outfit, which I kind of feel like is the Moon Knight when Mark Spector's in control, if that makes any sense. So this is them escaping. What's interesting is worlds start to blend, and it's kind of unclear as to why that's happening. Why are we seeing zombies come out here? But then somebody who's with Moon Knight will say, hey, listen, what are you talking about? Those are just orderlies. Those aren't zombies, right? So it's almost like this is where we're getting teased that Moon Knight is seeing things that aren't really there, or is he seeing the real version of what's there? Like this here, like his therapist now looks like this this god. he names her, instead of Dr. Emmett, it's not Emmett, it's actually a mutt. Is that how you say it? So anyway, he punches the therapist in her face. But is she his therapist, or is she a big crocodile monster? All right, then we have Moon Knight. He gets away. He's calling for Khonshu. He wants to speak to Khonshu. And it does kind of always, like, put him back at ease. So it's interesting where this story goes, man, just to say the least. I don't want to get in it too soon. But the art is great. This whole kind of paying the soul is paying the toll to cross this bridge. It kind of felt very Sandman-ish, Neil Gaiman, if you will. It was almost felt like it was a nod to that. But their escape, back out to this theme of, like, the destruction of New York. Now, this becomes a problem when he, as Moon Knight, sees the police officers as, like, these crocodile enemies as well. So it's not really good that Moon Knight starts fighting with the cops here, because he loses support from them, and it makes it harder for him to operate. And this is kind of where we also feel very Sandman-ish, right? We're at this, like, Gina's diner area, and it's almost like the nexus of the universe, right? Like, he grabs these people that are, like, ripped out of their world. I don't know, it's hard to explain, but basically this is her place, her purpose, to be serving at this diner. Yeah, it's almost like he untapped the minds of a few people at the hospital there with him. And then what's interesting here is that he runs in to Moon Knight. So, like, the vigilante Moon Knight, now that's making us think, oh man, so was he not even Moon Knight all along? All right, so jumping into issue 5, it's Moon Knight versus Moon Knight again. Marlene seems to go with what looks like the real Moon Knight. And as we go into this door, what's interesting is we get a Mark Spector scenario that is playing out where he's, like, battling in outer space. So this comes back around later. But then it goes to show you, like, Mark Spector, is he jumping into different lives? Or is it that in his head, he's really walking through this hallway, but he sees that he's on the moon, and he thinks that he's Mark Spector in this big space battle, but that's not what's real, and that's going to come back again a little bit later. Then we have the other alter ego, the millionaire, the actor, who's playing Moon Knight on TV, and then the cab driver, Jake Lockley. All his scenes look like this, which is really nice, because you're like, okay, I know what world I'm in right now. Now, the thing is, and the whole kind of point of the book is that, is he really Jake Lockley, a cab driver, living this out? Or is that he's really Mark Spector driving a regular car, but he thinks he's driving a cab as Jake Lockley at that moment? So that's what's interesting here. So that other Moon Knight is revealed to be Khonshu, actually just testing him. Mark Spector didn't really take too kindly to that he didn't trust him after all this time. And it's like Mark Spector as Moon Knight passes out but wakes up as his alter ego. But is he that person, or is he just living in this fantasy right now? So that's the theme. And then back to the Moon Knight character, the actor portraying this character in this version of the world where Moon Knight's fake. And that's where the cover comes from for issue 6 here. So then we're like, oh, okay, so this Steve, what's his name again? Stephen Grant. He's an actor who plays Moon Knight. But again, is that a real thing? Is this cab, is he really driving a cab? It becomes like a Matrix thing, like there is no spoon. So this is going through the Stephen Grant life here. And then boom, Mark Spector. And I don't know why the Mark Spector in space doesn't get a different name or anything, but there's this whole space battle here with these space wolves. So Jeff Lemire threw in space werewolves in this 14-issue Moon Knight run, which is amazing, man. I like the art there. It's very Mike Spicer-y. I don't know. It looks cool, though. Also is giving me Ed Piskor vibes. So then, like, we're playing this out, but it's like, all these things are happening at the same time. See, Mark Spector, he thinks he's in space. He's also at the same time Jake Lockley driving this cab. Is it a space cruiser coming at him, or is it a car? So that's kind of where it's like, oh man, this is all happening at once in real time, and it's really just Mark Spector, and he's just crazy. So all that stuff is not real. This is not real. And I guess at the end of the book, it's kind of like questioning that whole thing. What is real, right? What's cool here is the kind of ending of this story is Mark Spector coming to terms with these other delusions in his head and owning them all. Not kind of like trying to cure himself to make them go away, but to just kind of tame everything and just be everything at once and be Moon Knight, even if that means without Khonshu, because really that's who he goes up against last here in this story. Here's like a variant cover here to illustrate that he's really all those people at the same time. This was cool, going back to his childhood and showing how him as a kid started having imaginary friends, and how his dad sent him to therapy, and the therapist ended up sending him away. The dad thought that was the best thing for him, and that all of this kind of like mental illness really started as a child for Mark Spector. It's a deep book, man. Like I'm telling you, there's like very little superhero about this book. This was a trippy little scene on moving through his mind, so it like you have to turn the book to go with it. Now it's upside down. And then even like the variant was upside down, which kind of worked out really well. Yeah, so Mark realizes that he has to actually go back to the mental institution to kind of bring this whole thing full circle, and he needs to take it down because he was being treated badly there. I mean, it wasn't a good place whatsoever. So whether they're really Egyptian dog heads or he's fighting a boxer or whatever he might think he's doing at the time, he's definitely got to bring down that place to kind of like close the loop. And then this is kind of like where Mark Spector and the alter egos start working together to accomplish the goal. So like whether that's happening or not, it's helping Moon Knight out, right? Being all these people at once, whether he's the only one seeing all that or not. This is kind of how they introduce the Bushman here as we're getting to the end. And then, like I said, when he's in his tux with this mask, I feel like he's just in control of everything. He doesn't even need Khonshu at this point because he finally has come to terms with who he is and kind of just uses that to his advantage. And this is him now going to go challenge Khonshu, like I said, which is also in his mind, apparently. It's funny. It's like he's fighting all these things at once. The space werewolf, Khonshu, the Bushman. Really, he's just fighting one person, but it's like all of his personalities are going against something, and then boom, they all take down Khonshu, and now boom, he's free. He's still Moon Knight, still going to do his thing. Challenging what's real, who's to say? He's just going to be all those things at once. Alright guys, so that's the review of Jeff Lemire's Moon Knight. Overall, I really dug it. It wasn't what I expected. It wasn't a superhero story. It was all about Mark Spector, all about his alter egos and whether or not they're real. So I really dug it. I can see them using some of this for the show. I think we've already seen the tuxedo costume make an appearance, which has made appearances in other runs as well. But I really dug it overall. Let me know what you think about it in the comments below. Stay minty fresh. Peace.